Hi there, Debra Jason here with Creative Whispers of the Heart, and today I'm painting on mineral paper using fluorescent yellow, turquoise green, and Indian blue from Resin. I'm going to start out pouring just a drop of the yellow on the paper and letting it dry. I'm using an airbrush, and you can see I don't blow directly on that spot. I kind of blow around it from above. Then I add a drop of turquoise green. It's so cool the way that it spreads. I blow that as well with the airbrush. I thought I'd do blue, but I'm going to take another drop of turquoise green. Let it sit there, blow the airbrush on it. This drop doesn't spread out the way the other ones did previously. Now I add some just plain isopropyl alcohol, 99%, and start to blow with the brush. I don't blow directly on top of the ink. I kind of come from the side and push the alcohol down. You can see not much ink is actually spreading here, but I'll keep moving along, pouring the alcohol and blowing it with the airbrush. I move the paper around. This mineral paper is very light, very different than Yupo paper or Nara paper. Now you can see I'm getting some of that color pushing out from the center. There we go. Getting it to spread much better than previously. So as you can see, I just go around the circle, putting a drop of isopropyl. Now I'm adding some of that turquoise green, blowing it a little bit to dry it, not to move it. Now I'll move it with some of the isopropyl. Very cool color. Even though it's called turquoise green, it looks a bit more blue to me than it does green. Again, I'm moving the paper around and going around the circle just with a drop of isopropyl and blowing the ink in the direction I want it to go. As you might guess, painting with alcohol inks, it's kind of intuitive. You just look at the painting and decide which direction or where you want more color. So now I'm going to take some yellow, not the fluorescent yellow, just regular yellow from Resin. It looks more orange, doesn't it? Blowing it with the airbrush to let it dry. And now I will add a drop of that Indian blue. Orange and blue were the colors of my high school days. Now I'm taking a touch of that fluorescent yellow and adding it. Again, you see I'm just using that airbrush above to dry it, not to really move it. When I add the isopropyl, that's when I want to move the ink. Turning the paper around, dropping the alcohol around the circle, and simply blowing it with the airbrush. Again, not directly on top, but from an angle off to the side toward the direction that I want the alcohol and the ink to go. Sometimes I have a lot of luck directing the alcohol and the ink just where I want it to be, and other times, as you may have discovered painting yourself, the ink goes wherever it wants. I'm touching this up a little, just using a Q-tip with some alcohol on it to clean up a little bit of that spot. Now I'm going for a third burst, using the fluorescent yellow and drying it. Taking some more of that turquoise green. Ooh, you can see now it spreads quite differently than it did in the first two bursts. It's not quite a perfect circle. It's becoming more of a blob, but I'm drying it again and adding some Indian blue this time. The Indian blue in the center doesn't seem to spread as much. Oops. Oh, that's alcohol ink for you, but no worries. We'll fix it. It's kind of cool with alcohol ink that even though you think you've made a mistake, you can just pour down some more ink or some alcohol and see what happens. And I'm getting a very cool burst here, really liking the color combination. You can see there's just a little bit of yellow that's coming out. Mostly what you're seeing is that Indian blue. Looks very, very cool, I think. I hope you agree. Cleaning up that a little bit. Again, I use a Q-tip with some alcohol on it just to clean up areas that I'm not that happy with. And using the alcohol to move. Now I'm adding some gold. My gold is already pre-mixed with alcohol in that bottle. Moving it around, adding it to another burst here. And you can see because there's alcohol in it, it helps move the ink. You really can't see too much of the gold. Let's Resin does make its own version of gold. It's a little hard to see, but here's a close-up for you. I think that burst needed some more color going off to the left. You can see I move the alcohol with the brush. Try to follow it along the page and move it in the direction I want it to go. I have cut parts of this video out so that you don't have to watch every single step I take, because I want to make sure that you watch the whole video. But I believe you're getting the idea. Now I'm just taking gold, not mixing it with any alcohol first. I'm just dropping it down. Now I'm adding alcohol just to get it to move a little bit more. But I want a little bit of gold in each burst. Ooh, look at it go. So cool. There I just added some alcohol, no gold. A little bit more gold, a little bit more alcohol to move it a little bit. Let's try one on this burst. Ooh, just letting it go wherever it kind of wants. I am directing it with the airbrush, but you could see how that spread. So now I'm adding some alcohol to move it a little bit more. You could also dip your finger in it. I took my gloves off here, but if you had a glove, you could dip your finger into the gold and help break it up. I felt like this now needed a new center, so I added a darker color, the Indian blue, in the middle. I decided not to do it on that burst. I went with yellow. That's the fluorescent yellow. And you can see the gold is moving a little bit. I'm just going around it in circles. Now I'm pushing it out. There, I added some more alcohol to move that blue around, and I'm trying to create a circle, a little center for that burst. So I've gone back and forth with the plain alcohol as well as the alcohol with a touch of gold added to it. Right now this is just alcohol. I'm not really going for a flower, but I felt like each of these needed some kind of center. Here I'm just going around the edge of the darker color. Then I decided it needed to move a little bit more. Kind of cool, don't you think? Someone suggested I call this Emerald Suns. I'm thinking stratosphere. But here's some close-ups of it. And then the question is whether to put it out there horizontally or vertically. But that's the beauty of art. You can display it however you choose. If you've liked this video, please like, share, or comment below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks a million. I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.